Yeah, that's right. I'm going to tell them.
I watched the video.
Yeah, I know. Well, his voice is loud. I Not on the camera again this
I think he went back to one. I haven't talked to him very much. I haven't talked to him in years, so
that still leaves the question, is $200,000 that's something, so who took it?
All right, time. Good evening, good afternoon. I have appointed Edna. What's your last name?
Ed Paul.
Edna Paul, former secretary of the association and now secretary pro tem for the purposes of this gathering. Edna, as you know it, do we have a quorum seated at the head table?
Yes, it looks like we have 4 out of the 5.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll say yes. Purpose of this meeting is to confirm the vacancy for management company of Pebble Springs condominium as stated in this agenda. We will proceed as follows. From the board, do we have a motion to accept the vacancy as it is?
Can I make a motion to accept the vacancy?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. So this is Sharon, and this is Carol. May we have a vote to accept the vacancy from the board? Show of hands is sufficient. Okay, vote is 4-0, okay? We now have a contract before us from Chris Brown, president of CNS Management Company. This is very similar in language from what we had before. There is an addendum, and it has to do with trying to catch up on some of the financials and check payments that were sent in and that sort of got lost in limbo. May I ask you, Chris, if we do this, will you waive delinquent charges and just in case these things went to the wrong address?
The owner's delinquent charges?
Uh-huh. If their mail's gotten lost trying to get to us, will you continue to waive it for the moment? That's what Coastal was doing.
We can do that.
Okay, thank you. He has agreed to do that. So take it upon yourselves, folks, that the next payment you send in is going to go to the old address to CNS.
Well, let me ask you. I'm thinking that you all received, did you not receive I know it was late to you, but a coupon book to BB&T Bank?
We got it.
Yeah, that should be good, because we're not changing from BB&T Bank. So anyone who's using the coupon and the labels, that'll be fine.
Good.
Or
Yeah.
direct deposit.
Or anyone that's on direct deposit, that won't change
That
either.
won't change.
You're all set.
Okay. Has the board had a chance to review the contract?
Yes.
Yes. May I ask for a motion to accept the contract, please?
1 second.
You want to do more
We
discussion?
need to make a motion to accept, oh, we already did.
We did that.
The oh, okay, never
It's
mind.
4-0.
Okay.
You were daydreaming?
Yeah.
It's okay.
You made the motion.
It's okay. Sharon made the
Sorry.
motion, Carol seconded
Glad
it,
you're
and
here,
we had a
Colleen.
4-0 because we have a
Okay,
on
go ahead.
vacation. Okay. Sorry, let me go back. Do I have a motion from the board to accept the contract now presented to us by CNS President?
I move,
Chris
so
Brown.
move to accept the
Okay,
contract.
so this is going to be Carol. And may I have a second?
I'll second.
And then that's Sharon.
Now call for discussion, which is according to Robert's Rules of Order.
Would you give me a minute to take a breath?
Well, you didn't do it on the first item.
Beg pardon?
You didn't ask for discussion on the first item.
So, when you make the motion and you have a second, you normally say discussion.
Yes.
So that you can comment before you open it. So you can tell them yes and have to say what you want to
Do
say.
you have a comment on the first motion?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Someone else has a comment on the first motion?
Yes, and at what cost are we signing this contract for? What's the dollar amount?
The dollar amount is the same amount that we did before.
Which is what?
Hold on 1 second.
Thank you.
I gotta get to that page.
$1,977 a month.
$19.77 a month. In addition to that, okay, CNS has agreed, I had it here a minute ago.
I can explain it if you want.
All right, please.
Because this is going to come up the addendum. Bottom line is, you don't have any financials with information for November, December, January, February. We are going to go ahead and recreate all of your transactions, your financial transactions. We're going to recreate all of the payments everyone has made for November and December. And we are not charging for that because you did actually pay us for November and December. We're not legally obligated to, but we want to be fair to you.
Thank you.
For January and February, and also what's included in no charge to you is the year-end closeout, where you will ultimately get a financial for the end of the year for 2018, which you have not received yet, which legally you are entitled to receive per the statute. You will also receive that. We're doing all that for you at no additional cost. For January and February, we're also going to have to recreate all of the transactions, and we're discounting our normal rate to do that from $80 an hour to $60 an hour, and we estimate that'll take 20 hours, a little more than 20 hours, and there's a cap on here, so we are discounting that for you. From March going forward, you will be on our system, so there's nothing. The addendum is only just for that month of January and February to recreate all of those financial transactions and all of
Thank
your
you.
payments.
Okay. I see another question. John?
Related to the same topic,
What, beg your pardon?
related to the same topic,
Okay.
January and February have not been completed by the person that we paid to do the job. Will subsequently be billing Mr.
It's hard to hear, and maybe it would help if you stood up.
Maybe, okay. We can repeat what he's
His question was, since January and February were not completed, you don't have that financial information, would the association be looking toward the past management company for any type of reimbursement since they've been paid but they didn't do the work? That's your question, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Well, they did record all the payments, because they also recorded rental.
We never received a financial since November, since they took over.
Neither did I. Only thing I got was the.
I mean, everyone did.
I'll be honest, John, it's going to be a real murky what they did accomplish, what they didn't accomplish, and to try to go back to them to get money it's not gonna be worth your while to try to pay money to
Fair
get
enough.
it back, so.
Thank you for what you.
I see one other hand up, please.
Yeah.
Could you
Well, if
stand
they
back?
can, fulfill the contract, it should be an easy way to go back and get what's due the organization here. But I have another question, and the biggest question to me is, what are we gonna see from you guys on a website monthly? I can tell you, I went to the website and, September, October, there were only minutes back to April. The only financials I saw were the 2017, the final one. I didn't see any monthly financials, and so I would like to know going forward, what are we going to see as unit owners on the website? And I would suspect we should see monthly financials, minutes. I would expect to be able to see contracts too, as with whomever we're contracting with and that kind of stuff.
Normally, and I'm gonna say this, and if the board agrees with this, and this is not accomplished, I want any of you in here to please call me, because this is a pet peeve of mine. I like our websites, to be up to date. On a normal website that CNS is maintaining, you're gonna have a monthly financial. You will have minutes. It is questions whether the board wants the minutes posted only after they're approved, and if they lag behind and don't have a meeting for several months, you won't see those minutes. We like to have all of your contracts. There should be one folder there for contracts, and every contract that's with the association, we like it to be on the website. Your documents, your declaration bylaws, that would be on the website, and your forms would be on the website, and there's one other thing I'm thinking of. Let's see. Oh, your insurance policy on the website, rules and regulations, all of that should be on the website. And if we miss it and we do not have that information up there and kept current, please call me. I want to know about it. Yes.
We have voting coming up right now.
March 6th.
Right.
Yes.
Will people be able to vote online?
No.
No. No voting on the,
No. It is legal now in Florida for an association to do online voting through a website. You are not presently set
yeah,
up
because
for
there's
that.
a lot of people that their paperwork is going one place and they're another place. But yet they're not here, so they can't get a copy and just print it and vote and turn it in.
It can be emailed to, you are running out of time, but at this point, if you know somebody, it can be emailed to them. They can create the outer envelope and the inner envelope. It has to be their signatures, and then they could FedEx it, back to the association. You cannot, no, it can't be scanned to us, it cannot be faxed. It has to actually be the original ballot, and the envelopes have to be signed, original signatures by the unit owner. But
Okay.
they still have time.
Wait, Colin.
I know.
We can,
Well, it's about this.
what, go ahead.
Is there an election?
Yeah, I think there is.
So there's more than one person running for a seat?
one office in cluster 2.
Okay,
All right.
alright.
So yeah, what we're talking about would be cluster 2, where they're actually having an election.
Yeah, so you have two, you have more than one person running.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of votes you could take where you can just email it right back into us. They're not private. But under the law, when you're electing your directors, that is a secret ballot. It has to be originals, and it has to be original signatures.
The gentleman here had another question.
Yeah, I can be just explain it, but I think the sequence of events was that the firm was let go, was it October? Okay.
October 31st was our last day, yes.
And my understanding was that at that time the board was unhappy enough with performance as to let you go prior to the end of the contract.
No.
Can I finish my question?
Yeah,
will
let me respond to you.
Because the board voted, and I heard it was 4-1, but the board voted to let you go, and then now is deciding to bring you back.
Yes.
So I got a couple parts to this. Part of it is what has changed. What are you anticipating has changed with respect to past performance and future performance? What is going to change your mind? 1, 2. Did you go out for bids to 2 or 3 other firms prior to making this decision. And the third part is, I would like for the people, particularly the people on the board, to speak to answer this, and not just one person, but several people, so that we can know that you're in agreement or disagreement on this, so it is clear. Because it seems like, from the outside looking in, that there's a dysfunction and a disconnect going on, and we need to know that you're together on this. If you're going to go forward with this firm, that you actually are together on that decision or not. Thank you.
I can answer that for
Hey,
myself.
let me answer first, please. I want to speak to cluster one. What happened with this whole procedure?
Louder.
Louder. Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
What happened with this whole change-up was never letting cluster one be a part of it. There was zero discussion with any other management company. There was no interview with the company that was selected. I was in Maryland, and I advised the president that I was going to be in Maryland. I gave her Jim Mack, where's Jim? Yeah, his phone number. If anything came up, give me a call. And then I called her, and Jim called her. When I got back from Maryland, all of a sudden I was confronted with the idea that CNS, which was the company we've been with for a long time, and I had zero complaint. I had no idea what the complaints were that were facilitating this firing. And next thing I know, this Bob guy, was nominated to be it or selected to do it, and they signed, the contract was signed by Ann and Don. I never saw the contract. I never had a chance to read it. And next thing I know, there it was. And it's just been, I've sent the man emails since he took over. I've never had a response to any of his emails. I went to his office. There's 2 people. I thought there'd be an office. There's him and his wife, Sandy. She's totally overwhelmed what the company's gotten into. Because obviously, if we'd been able to interview them, it would have been clear he was not equipped to handle our multi-condominium, which involves 7 budgets that you have to. And so I'm toward the end of this, I was terrified. I had no idea what was going on with our money. We give the bank over $9,000 a month out of cluster one maintenance fee. I had no idea since November what has happened with all that money. Not one idea. So.
And we've asked for the financials and a copy of the bank statements, and what we got was a printout when you open up the bank account to see what's on the front page.
With all due respect, I'm Doug Peebles, attorney on behalf of Jim and Judy
stand up,
Mack. I'm Doug Peebles, Peebles Law Firm, on behalf of Jim and Judy Mack. I appreciate your explanation, but I think it was wholly unresponsive to his question. If I summarize, your position is you had no knowledge whatsoever about what was going on, and the question was more of the lines, why was CNS fired and now being hired back?
We were never
And
told.
I
Well, let
understand.
Ann answer, 'cause she knows.
So maybe perhaps the persons who do know why they were terminated would respond to that question.
I went up on the website several times to try to get a balance, and I got all hash marks. You know, the pound sign, as far as the balances were concerned. And this, to me, sent up a red flag for me. I asked the representative, or CAM as they're called, from CNS to give me a balance. They couldn't give me a balance right away. I had to wait several days for a balance. That was a little unsettling also. I can pick up the telephone right now and call my bank, Bank of America or Wells Fargo or whoever I have, and I can get in 5 minutes the balance that's on my account. I cannot do that on their website, and I could not do that by calling someone at the office. That disturbed me greatly. That was one of the features. A couple of the board members said that when they called, they didn't get responses that, I'm sorry, Chris, this is true. They were calling Janet Fernandez, and of course she's your general operations, I think. I don't know if I got the title right. Anyway, she couldn't stay on the line to fully explain to some of the directors who were brand new. They were getting frustrated. Then we had budget meetings, okay, and somehow or other, Nisad from Cluster 6, I'm gonna point him out. He got told that his budget was gonna go up $57 a person. And all he did was ask the CAM, how did you get that? What is your formula? She was all flustered. He got all upset. They screamed at each other, blah, blah, blah. After which, it was Nick who said, I want to go when you interview anybody, and it was Nick who went. Now, the other company that we looked at that came to my home, and let me preface that first. I was told by Janet Fernandez and some lady that gave us training, wait a minute, that anytime we had a meeting of more than 3 of our board, because we were 7-member board, 4 is a quorum, needs to be considered, quote, a meeting. So if I entertain Don for a cup of coffee, that's not a meeting. That's just a friendly visit. If I entertain Jeff in my home, it's for a cup of coffee. That's a friendly meeting. And if the conversation gets around to asking the question, I'm going to answer it, just like I'm answering you now. See what I'm saying? So, the answer to the question was, I had my doubts. Okay, then I have a check that is about yay size, and when we get the financial, they're screened down and they're just about the size of a 5x5 card. And you couldn't read the routing number or the check numbers. So I got one set of check numbers back, and they were in sequence. And that sent up, well, why are they in sequence if we have 7 bank accounts? That question was never answered. I can tell you that in 2016, we lost a carport to an auto accident. I was given a check for $21,000 plus. I don't remember the exact amount. And I called Colleen, who's sitting here, and I said, Colleen, what's my bank account number for Cluster 5, which is who I represent? I want to run down to BB&T right here. It's Friday afternoon to make that deposit. She said, no, you have to bring it to us. I said, but it's all going into the same bank. Just give me our separate account number.
You don't have one.
Couldn't do that.
Well, the reason, and I'm
It's
gonna.
because there's only one bank account.
Correct, so
Right.
that's why
But
you
it would
couldn't
have been
get a
nice to
separate
know
bank
that.
account.
It would have been.
You were
I'm gonna
treasurer
stop.
for 2
I
years.
never knew that.
You
The
were the
little checks were
treasurer,
so
Ann.
tiny you couldn't
Wow,
read
that's pretty amazing for being treasurer for 2 years.
As
Ann.
manager for 6 years,
it. Okay?
I sat with you guys.
Well, you're asking me
And I'm
the
sure
question
most of you
as to
remember.
why.
Wait,
That
wait,
was
wait,
my
Ann.
why, okay?
I think that everybody remembers this. I gave a board meeting where I spent 2 hours explaining
You
financials.
did.
And I
And
explained
budget too.
line by line for 2 hours. With, Ruby was here, Ruby's back there. Terry may have been on the board, it was Jody, no, it was Jody. Edna, Carol,
I don't remember that.
and I spent 2 hours in Brock Kelly, who is no longer my assistant and doesn't work at CNS, so that everybody could understand the financials, because we had a hard time understanding it. And every month, I explained to you guys exactly how the financials worked and how the budget worked. We had budget meetings every year, where it was
Where
me.
we did a draft budget.
Correct.
And that's what Nick had received when the $57.
But that wasn't, I wasn't the manager during that
I
time.
know, Carrie was the manager when she was dissatisfied. She fired Colleen and was dissatisfied with
I
Carrie.
never fired Colleen, and I wish that Mr. Thompson would say that. Did I fire her or ask for someone to work with?
All right,
Anything.
I'll
What
go
was
ahead,
my
I want to
language?
address several of the issues. You sent an email to me saying you did not want to work with Colleen
I
anymore,
did
you
not.
wanted a new manager.
Correct.
So, based on our contract, we followed your direction, so
Right.
we did exactly what you
But
asked for.
she was not fired by CNS, period.
No,
She's
not by
still
CNS,
working.
she said by you. She said
No.
from your account. She said from your
Alright,
account.
okay.
But if I could address some of the things. Let me start first with the pound sign. We have a website which allows the board members to actually go in and see information in real time. Some of the information, when you call it up, is on an Excel spreadsheet. For some of you, this won't matter to some of you because don't know about Excel spreadsheets, but in an Excel spreadsheet, when your columns are too narrow, it makes everything pound sign. All you have to do is widen the column and you have all of the information.
Why didn't somebody tell me that when they asked?
It took us actually some time to figure out what you were talking about. 'Cause
Okay.
we would go right on and we could never find anything.
Okay.
It finally took some time to find out. I know for a fact that on many occasions Janet Fernandez offered to come out, sit down with the board, and give you demonstrations, and we do this with other communities, on how to use VMS.
She did.
So, I mean, I don't think it's fair to say the information isn't there. It would be better to say, you know,
User.
I wasn't able to you know,
Well,
to use it,
we
but the
weren't-
information is
operator.
there.
Right, then we asked
User.
to go the paper trail rather than use.
But you also received a financial each month.
Yes, we
We did every month on
So
time.
received a
So
financial.
then to follow up, there was a reader error, operator error on viewing the computer, but now today, then the people you hired, that were here for 4 months, then I take it you were totally dissatisfied with.
did. Somewhat.
They've never prepared
Well, they
any
haven't done
financial.
anything, is what I heard earlier.
The financial, there's
What
no
I said,
financial at all.
Right.
I'm still waiting.
Right,
There
okay,
was no
so
communication.
do you consider no financials for 4 months a small problem, or like they didn't do the main job? They're a huge problem.
I think it was misstated what their qualifications were at the time.
Okay, so.
And maybe we were looking for something different, but whatever it is, it didn't happen.
So the people that didn't do financials for 4 months, they weren't terminated, they resigned. You terminated Chris and CNS, who's got a 30-year reputation in this community. I've worked with him for 25. Now you want them back. Are you now satisfied with the things that you were dissatisfied before that you terminated them for?
I have explanations now. Yes, thank you.
Now, what about the rest of the board? Because it sounds like this is between you and CNS and you only, but not a fully informed board. I haven't heard anybody else on the
I
board.
can stand up and talk, if you don't mind. I'm Sharon Villers, I'm cluster board director, I've been director since 2014. I was very satisfied with CNS. Any email that I sent was responded to in regards to something to do with our cluster, when I was president, very helpful with presidency. Colleen was the manager at the time. We always received our financials on time. If we had a question on something, we always received that in a timely manner, within 24 hours, but it was always less than 24 hours. I've never had a problem with them. And Carol and I were both out of the whole picture of the firing or the letting go of CNS. There was meetings behind our backs, like she just said she had a company go to her house. That makes no sense at all. Why would you have a company go to your house? We have a clubhouse. Why wouldn't you invite the board to a meeting, a proper meeting? Why did that happen? That a company came to your house and not to the clubhouse? There's no answer for that.
No, there's no answer. It was convenient.
So I have a question. The management company that just resigned, are you paying him March?
No, I did not.
Did he ask to be paid?
Yes, he did.
Did you sign a check?
Yes, I did, and he tore it up.
Okay.
How do we know he tore it up?
We
have
don't.
the ripped up check?
It is shredded.
Where? Do you have it in an envelope in the end?
No, I do not have the pieces.
So those that don't know, she not only let CNS go early, their contract was up for renewal at the end of December of last year. We've had to pay CNS for November and December. So now she's thinking that we should pay this company for March. They didn't do anything for us. They were approving applications for people to move in here without directors even seeing the application. So, I had no problems with CNS. Any other questions?
Don? What are your thoughts? Anybody else?
There's a lot of times that, we couldn't get through to CNS. It was put on hold. I complained about it one time, and I was told, we just don't answer phones for now. There's other things that went on,
And what are the other things that went on, Don?
We
And
had,
what are the other things that went on?
we had, with the asphalt. Yeah, let me bring you up to date here a little bit. You know, I come on board here, and, we had a management company. Sharon took the stuff out of her purse. There was a company that wanted to be the manager company here, and you said,
Wait,
When you were interviewing, yes,
okay,
yeah, that's fine.
you
It
were
was
asked
prior
to
to.
leave,
Mine in there, I'll go get them.
and, come to find out that this contract was different than the proposal. So Sharon asked us to, turn it down, which we did. The other thing that, it seems to be a problem here, it came up with the asphalt.
Was it CNS?
well, we can
Sharon,
ask Ann
wait a
about
minute,
that.
Wait a minute,
She's the one
let
that
me finish now.
signed
You
a
had your
contract all
turn.
by herself.
Sharon had a contract, or said she had a contract with the asphalt company.
Wait a minute, we
Well,
had
you
an
know what?
approved contract, we had an approved board contract previous to Ann getting rid of that contract
It was
when
with
she
no.
became president.
Okay,
No,
wait,
no,
wait,
no.
wait, wait,
Let
wait.
me go back.
We
The
did.
date of that contract was October of 2017. The fine print said that after 30 days, that contract would have to be rewritten. Had you read that. But anyway, you put that contract through in December, which was more than 30 days since the contract was written. However, when I got elected, the first phone call, thank you, that I made was to that company to ask, not that there's a wrong contract, but when are you going to start? And they said, who signed it on their part, what's the number, and so forth, and they said, it doesn't exist. What? Wait a minute. We approved this, blah, 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 back in December. I'm waiting for you to come in and start the asphalt. I said, well, not with us, because we didn't go through. The gentleman was terminated the same day that he signed the contract, unbeknownst to Sharon, okay? I'm not saying she had any wrongdoing in there.
Well, I
There was
hope
no
not, 'cause
wrongdoing.
I didn't.
What?
I hope not, because I didn't.
Absolutely not. Why would I say that? What I'm saying is, you didn't know that there was a clause at the bottom, which was very minuscule in type, probably .0, I think, that said that if you didn't submit this and come back to them with an official bid from the company that you were representing.
Okay, well, that doesn't really
But
matter.
okay, so what happened was, it didn't exist. I had to go start all over again to get bids, including from that company. And I did get the necessary 3 bids.
And then we approved the contract.
Right.
Then she went along by herself and made another contract for like $79,000 or something like that. I don't have the exact figure with me because I didn't think we'd be talking about that today.
Okay, well, let me give you the rest of it then.
Does that have
That
anything?
contract was for, instead of the $125,000 that was set aside in the budget, or in the reserve, the contract was actually $139,000, and it would have only addressed cluster 4 and cluster 5. None of you would have gotten asphalt, none of you would have got a correction, okay? I felt that had to be resolved, and where was I gonna get the money? Okay, we wrote a deal with Spectrum, let me finish. We signed a contract where Spectrum paid us for each one of you an amount of money that totaled $35,000. Wow, found money. We changed vendors with lawn care and saved $20,000 there. That's,
Oh my God.
excuse me, that's $55,000 savings. And approximately, that $55,000 was what I spent extra, along with $10,000 out of the operating budget, in order to pay $208,000 total for everybody, with no assessment, no charges, and you all got new asphalt.
But we
And
really
what happened was,
Wait a minute.
you're not letting me finish. I let you finish, let me finish.
Loudness does not.
I understand, but you're not letting me finish.
Be nice about it.
I wanted it for everybody, and it wasn't supposed to start until it got approved Unfortunately, they showed up on Manatee Avenue and started quoting it down. And the attorney said, oh my God, you gotta let them finish. I said, but it's not approved. He said, it doesn't matter, you're gonna still be paying them. Oh my God. Well, guess what? The contract came in at only $199.
I got a contract here that says 208,860.
It came in, the final bill came in less than the contract.
Okay, I'd like to address some of this.
And it was just an accident that they started on Manatee Avenue. They were not supposed to come in there. They were supposed to finish
This
the
is the
original.
first we heard about
They
this.
were supposed to finish
It's
the
the
original.
problem, there's never any, the rest of the board is included in all this. They just go about, they being Don and Ann, and do their
found them
thing,
here.
and we're never included.
I wasn't even gonna bring this up, because I really want to try to move forward, on issues and leave things behind us. But since this is brought up, and the question is raised, why did we end up changing managers at CNS, and when was CNS actually let go? And I think this is one of the reasons. Basically, bottom line, the board of directors signed a contract. The president then went, without knowledge of the board of directors, and signed a new contract, which was for a lot more money. They then turn to CNS and says, I need the check. And CNS says, no, we don't have documentation for this. It's not been authorized. This, if you remember, you were very upset when we were not giving you this check. What?
Now
The
she
last
doesn't-
check for the paving company. This went on for weeks. For the
That
paving
was for the
company.
first part. Part one.
Whichever part it was, we didn't have a
Right, but they-
contract.
okay, but-
But we didn't have a contract
Right,
for this money, and we were refusing to do it.
right.
There were other issues which we were just not comfortable doing, where we felt that,
Yes.
this was not consistent with Florida law, and this caused a lot of friction between Colleen.
Let him finish.
Between Colleen and the president, and then we changed out Colleen, and then with Kerry, and then ultimately, CNS is gone. We're licensed, and we have to look out for our license. When you assist and do things that are not legal, that comes against us, and we run the risk of losing our license. And I wasn't gonna bring any of this up. I'm just gonna let it go, because, we need to move forward. We need to try to bring the community together and move forward.
This isn't doing it.
But
Actually,
this is in fairness to answer your question.
This is
Yes, it
necessary.
is.
All right, well,
This is necessary.
You
Our
don't
problem
really
is not
care
you,
that you
Chris.
got new asphalt. You
For
don't
all I
really-
know, you're gonna end up getting this
Not like that.
contract. The problem we have is that they're dysfunctioning board, okay?
Wait, and one question I have that I don't know.
We've got elections coming up. When we have those elections, there'll be some new people on the board, there'll be some existing people on the board. I am begging the people who end up being on the board, you need to look seriously at your leadership, and you need new leadership. Do not go forward with what you've been doing, okay? Whoever it is that's on board, go forward. You need to come together and either iron out your differences or resign.
They
Okay?
need to work
Each person
together.
needs to ask themselves that if they're on the board, but we need new leadership. This is not the problem, it's not the management company, it's the board.
I want to tell you something. I can't tell you how many emails Bob Parham about we need the same reason. There's something wrong with how we're managing, organizing, and communicating. I sent him 3 or 4 emails. I got 0 response. And it's just been awful. And our own attorney said to Ann at a meeting we had, you have to be more inclusive in how you do things. And then she just proceeds and she's not inclusive.
I'm not pointing at one person. This is, the board as a group is responsible for how the board runs, okay? You all have to get control of your own board.
Thank you.
For the sake of yourself, for the sake of your service to the community, and for the sake of us. Okay, because we're all gonna get fighting each other, and we probably already are. That's not fair, and we don't want you fighting each other. We want you guys for this to be a service that helps the community and helps yourselves, okay? We want it to be good thing. Work it out.
All
I have a
right,
question
that's
along
enough
that
comments,
line.
please.
I have a question
The
along
board
that
would like
line.
to take a vote.
Okay. I
The
have a
board would
question
like to
along
take a
that
vote,
line.
sir.
You don't wanna
Just
hear my
1
question?
minute. I will let you finish.
I have a question along the line you were talking about.
Okay.
What are the obligations of the president to accommodate board members in scheduling board meetings?
we try to make it all, so that the most number of members can attend. I mean, everybody's schedule is not written in stone.
What are your obligations to accommodate the board members?
I've had evening meetings because some of the boards are working people. We tried to have an afternoon, then we switch off to evening because other people that don't work didn't want to come at night. They have vision problems, walking, whatever. They don't want to be out after dark. I understand that. So we would split. We'd have an afternoon meeting, an evening meeting, blah, blah, blah. Then we started having all evening meetings because more than one person on the board held a position of employment somewhere, all right? And they couldn't make it.
Well, the president has to be flexible because we all
Right,
have
I'm also
different lives.
retired, so I have no
And if you want a
problem.
fair representation,
Yeah.
you have to be flexible with when people can meet with you.
Yes, I am.
And I think there's a shortcoming there, and that's why you had this three-person vote to dominate things.
May I ask a quick question when it comes to scheduling meetings and you know, the board meetings? Chris, with you managing several communities, is there not a way to get these board meetings on a calendar?
Yes.
So
We
that it
prefer
can be planned, your life activities, and can be planned around your board meetings, dates and times. You have other communities that hand out a year schedule. Here's where the board meetings
In fact,
are.
you used to have a set.
Yes,
set
you
day
guys
and
had
set
2
Thursday.
meetings a month.
This Thursday.
It was always the third Thursday,
Third
and
Thursday.
one of them would be at 1 p.m., and then some of them would be at 6 p.m. But you always had the third Thursday blocked off as your board meeting. So
Can
that the
you please
community
go back
knows.
to that?
It's fine
So
with
that
us.
everybody
We don't
knows,
mind.
this is what it is, set your schedule. I've had to do it in my place of business, and we all have to do it. So could we please have a schedule set each month for a year so that we know we don't plan things on that date if we need to attend that board meeting? It's only fair.
There's one other question at the back of the
Thank you.
room.
I have a question for you. I work with a lot of other condo associations too, and a lot of times people are out of state and they get conference calls. Why is that not possible? If somebody cannot physically attend,
It is
they
possible.
have
It
a
is
conference
possible.
call.
It is possible.
They just have to be called.
They just need to let us know that they're gonna be on, it needed to do that.
Okay, so somebody's
I've
listening.
only done it,
With all due
I've never
respect.
done it before this past year, and I think you guys have done it once before.
We have called people in, I think, on
That's
our
what
cell
I
phones.
said.
Yeah.
I don't have it all written in stone, I don't have a member that good, all right? Gentleman with the hat?
Chris, I got a question for you. Why would the president of the association that, say, got rid of it in October, in November and December, she'd be going back to you, looking for your company, looking for information, when you had another management company on hand that you got qualified to do the works, do the books, you know, why is she going back to you that she fired or someone fired 3 or 4 months prior?
You mean, why are they coming back to rehire us?
No, in the months, like, that, you know, she was looking for checks, she was looking for this, looking for that, you know, why would, you know, be going back to a company that, you know, there's not many of them?
Well, I think the issue isn't that these things weren't being done, or the information wasn't available for whatever reason, and I'm gonna point, you know, any fingers at all. There was some type of communication issue, because the work was done, the information was there. As I say, in the one case, it was as simple as just simply on your computer screen widening the columns of the Excel spreadsheet to eliminate the pound sign.
Chris, I think what he's asking you is, since we were terminated in October, why would Ann be asking us for more, and please correct me if I'm wrong, why would Ann be asking us for information if there was a new management company? And
Well, one of the reasons was we were being contacted the whole time from the previous management company, despite the fact that we gave them the information, and they just didn't understand a multi-condominium community. And then they ultimately told us that their software could not handle it. They used QuickBooks. An exact quote was that we don't have expensive software like you do. And, you know, we just can't do it this way. They also, you know, we were done in October. They contacted us on December 5th, asking if we would order your coupons from BB&T Bank because they just didn't have the capability to order your coupons. We told them no. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, really, when you think about it. But they just really were not equipped to do it. And I mean, I really had no problem with this company. We offered them a very smooth transition. We gave them everything within just a few days afterwards, financial ledgers, the owner account. But then I watched that videotape of a 2-hour meeting from a month ago in which it was suggested, you know, that the reason that nothing's balancing was because of us. There were money shortages, $100,000 was gone. And that's when I got, you know, back involved, and I was very thankful that you let me the other night come for a town hall meeting to show you the proof. When we left October 31st, your books are to the penny. There was not anything missing. Everything was completely perfect. Your CPA of 30 years was also here. They probably have done about 10 different audits. They do an audit every 3 years. They've never had an issue. The firm audits us for other communities. We're audited every year by every major CPA firm in Manatee and Sarasota County. This upset me greatly.
But Chris, in your expert opinion, the company that Coastal that they hired already qualified to do the work of management, say, condominium?
Of a multi-community, I'd have to say no. Based on things they've told us, I'd have to say no. They might be fine with smaller communities or just a single condominium association, but a multi, they're not equipped for it. I think either in their experience or their software and ability.
So,
Okay.
Chris, one, on behalf of the Macs, we appreciate CNS not taking action and assisting in spending money for which CNS could not see verification that there was authorization to spend it. So I presume on behalf of the Macs that if you are rehired, that you will continue to follow such procedures and not do things that you don't see authorization for.
Yeah.
And as the president, we would like to know if you understand, I understand what you said you did, that you found or saw some other savings within the
Right.
association.
I sat down with Carrie, and
Right.
she helped put that together for me.
If I may.
Yeah.
I understand completely. You found a couple of different areas within the association where you saw some savings.
Right.
And then you decided that it would be better to go ahead and do more asphalt paving rather than the staggered asphalt paving that was designed to spend money over time. And then you signed a new contract, which CNS didn't see authorization for. My question to you would be, do you, as you sit here today, do you understand that that isn't for you to decide any of that? In other words, you don't get to decide
I didn't
as
decide.
as a single person where you can't even say it with a straight face.
No,
You don't get to decide where to spend the savings or whether or not to go ahead and unstagger the paving. That's a decision, that information is to be presented to the board. And then the board decide if they want to spend that money. I mean, the board could have decided, let's spend the saved lawn mowing money on ice cream cone day for the residents. That could have been the board's decision. And you understand that, I presume, that by you signing that contract and then asking CNS without any authorization to send you money to pay for it, that caused a lot of friction, and that
No, I didn't.
you don't understand that.
No, it was a smaller amount.
It was for the first
65,000 or
portion
something like that.
that I was asking for, not the second.
But you
That-
understand that.
Before that even happened.
But
You're missing the point,
But-
and the time frame.
But you understand, you're
checking
skipping my
thing
question. You
issue was I
understand,
didn't
do you
have the invoice.
understand, do you
Yeah, I
understand
do.
as a president that
Yes.
you do not have the authority to do that?
Well, that's not the way I read the docs. It said that I had a fiduciary responsibility to work for the people, and that's what I was doing, negotiating. Okay, he only wanted to negotiate one-on-one. That's the way it works.
What Doug's saying though is, once
Yeah.
you completed the negotiation, you had an obligation to
And
then
that's supposed to
send
have
it to the
come,
whole board.
okay, Chris, that was supposed to have come out, and it said contracts on the agenda for that night. Instead of that contract coming up first, the contract to terminate CNS came up first, that was the end of the night. It just went down the toilet.
Well, then that should have been the end of the asphalt.
But by the time,
Until
we were
a month
terminated,
later, we have
already-
another meeting.
This had already happened before we
They were
terminated.
already on site thinking that that was approved. I didn't tell them it was approved or not approved.
Did they have
I
a
never got
signed-
a chance to do that.
So,
It was circumstantial at best.
So you do understand,
Yeah, I do.
understand that you're not permitted, you're not authorized to take action unless you, on those kind of
That's
contracts.
correct. It was accidental that they even showed up when they did. They were supposed to come at the south side at cluster 5 and 4. And those machines showed up down here. And once you start digging, you have no way to stop them.
I'm sure they would have called you and let you know that they're gonna be there.
They said they were coming. They didn't say where they were coming. I assumed that they were coming there. And I kept telling him, that contract's not
You knew they
legal.
were coming.
But there, not that end.
And the attorney is asking you,
I
do
told
you
him.
understand that you cannot move forward without board approval on anything? That's what he's trying to get you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Well, I'm saying thank you. Thank you for enlightening me.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no answer. Do you understand it?
I do understand. Thank you
Are
very
you
much.
saying
I'm
that
saying.
you didn't know that until today?
I've had enough, folks. If I quit right
Why
now,
don't
you
you
don't have a
resign?
meeting, and you don't hire this man. Do you want to hire this man today?
You don't need to threaten us.
No, I'm not threatening
Yes, you
anyone.
are.
No, I'm not.
We'll have a new
I
board
feel
in
like
2
I'm
weeks.
being threatened.
We'll have a new board in 2 weeks.
That's right, you're gonna have a new board.
Wait a
You wanna
minute,
sign this contract?
Okay, everyone, I've worked with Pebble Springs for a very long time. I know all of you know me by face, by name. We've all worked together. Today, we're not really getting anything accomplished
That's right.
by arguing. I think that there are a lot of things that need to be addressed. They definitely need to be addressed. But until you have a manager in place and you have a board in place, nothing can happen. So we all understand your concerns. I've been here, I've dealt with multiple volumes of concerns. The only thing we need to do is work to get everyone back on the same page that we were working towards before, and get everybody back together and unified, and get people to come to the meetings and understand what we're doing and make collective decisions as a board, not just as individuals. So I think that I think that you guys are trying to get a point across today, and I understand that, but I don't think that point's going to actually be made today. So maybe we should allow the agenda to continue and go ahead and get the management company in place so that we can start moving forward to getting things, because you can't go back. Retrospectively, you can't go back. So I'm just trying to help out and get everybody to understand.
Pinpointed cluster 1.
I understand.
And screw it up.
Do anything to cluster
Come
one.
on,
That's
emails
exactly
that I
the
sent to
point.
You
did nothing. We understand, and we're gonna work on these things, okay? You have Carol as your representative for cluster 1. I was manager for 6 years. Every time I sent an email, every single board member got a copy of an email. Every single board member made their decisions for their cluster. Terry worked with me, Edna worked with me, you all worked with CNS. That's how we handle things. So we will get back on track, but we have to get one thing done before we can move forward with anything else. We have to get a management company here. You have to get someone to manage your association. And whether it's us or not.
And there's a motion on the floor, and it has been seconded.
All right.
Remember, you just need to say to the board, all in favor.
Yes.
So it's
I want to repeat, we have a motion made by Carol, seconded by Sharon. We've now had discussion. May we have a vote from the board, please? All in favor? All right, are we four? All right, so this vote is 4-0, unfortunately, because he's not here. Congratulations, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
You are now our management.
Thank
All right, Ravy, sign this contract.
You're not. You're not the manager.
I said he's the owner of the company.
Yeah,
You
no,
signed
no,
the
I said,
contract.
I'm just saying.
Colleen will be your manager.
Very
Yay.
good. Where am I there? Here it is.
I mean, basically what happened is the guy pulled our license and checks.
She was never
You got 3 of these, and this is my extra.
You'll come on board? Awesome. We would love to have you on board. No, that's great. First of all, Yes, I'll be here. You know what? I don't have the complete packet, and I'm hearing that it might not be valid. So I need to get a copy of that and look at it to make sure it's valid. But then, if anybody can get me a copy, that'd be great, like what we sent out. Because she sent out a ballot to customers before, when she's the only one running, but she was supposed to be.
Everything has one or two.
Was it? But it's wrong.
I know it's wrong. Every commissioner has, whoever, like,
I looked at it and I was like,
when it has
Are you ready for 3?
I'm in for 3, but Sharon's even.
May I have a motion from the board to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
May I have a second? The next meeting is the owners' meeting next Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here.
Next Thursday. Wednesday, it's always the first Wednesday of March. Yeah, it is, it's the 6th, Wednesday, 7 o'clock. You don't have to come if you don't want to. You may want to do some work on this. I'm sorry that I had to say that, but I just didn't think we were getting anywhere, so yeah, and I have to go at 6 all the way on Thursday.